This is great. We love to see this. On to the patch notes. Let's go. So we'll read through all of them, kind of discuss them, and then we'll try to update the how classes are feeling going into the patch tier list. Not on power, just how happy they are from the changes from start to finish. We've been updating it every week. Demon Hunter. Concentrated sigils have been removed. I believe that was the... Here, let's go ahead and add the talent tree here. All right, concentrated sigils has been removed. So that's the sigils are now place your location and they're increased, similar to precise sigils. I think also, I know this is an old tooltip, by the way. I think they also, since this change, they also removed the 2-second thing in a previous note. I should actually probably just have this be set to 10.2 just so it's the same. Okay, Tactical Retreat and Unbound Chaos swapped spots. So those were like down here. Unbound Chaos used to be before Tactical Retreat, but Unbound Chaos is more tied to the playstyle, momentum, and inertia. So having Tactical Retreat a little bit earlier can allow you to still gain the Fury from this without having to double down into a build that involves these two things. It's probably just a good change. That's top of my head, though. Maybe Demon Hunters are mad about that. Burning Hatred now generates an additional 40 Fury. I think that's when you press Immo Aura, right? Yeah, Immo Aura generates additional Fury, so that was nerfed to 40. It was 50. Why does this say 24 on the tooltip? I'm assuming just a bad tooltip. Nah, it was a trap talent. It was useless. You could just it for a macro. Okay, talent swap is a good change. Got it. Okay. Inner Demons now deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. That's this thing, right? Where when you exit your demon form, your next Chaos Strike will AoE. Okay, built for more of like a demonic-y kind of getting out of having constant value on that. I don't even know if that's good. Maybe people play that. Inertia damage bonus reduced from 18 was 20. That's like kind of old momentum, but not really. They basically made a choice node where momentum is just this shitty, you dash around all the time and it has easy 100% uptime, but you're dashing around for no reason. And inertia is what momentum kind of used to be, where it's like much less uptime, but the bonus is much more powerful, which sounds more fun to play with, but I don't know how this compares to old momentum in general. Inner Demon was uncapped and it was pretty good on huge pulls, and now it's useless. I mean, I think the change makes sense though, because that's more in line with how most everything else works. Like if you look at it past like, oh, this is a nerf, and more like they can move that damage, and it's the same thing as always, right? Like I could be wrong about this, but it sounds like that change would be good if they could move the power into other things. So one specific thing isn't creating that much power or randomly mass AoEing when other things aren't. But you're at the point where you hope that I mean, obviously Demon Hunters are feeling real good right now, so you're not in pain, but could be good design, but it feels bad when singular things are nerfed. And then the inertia damage reduced, I'm assuming was inertia just like way better than momentum or something? Why did they nerf this? 20% is just like what old momentum used to be, so they moved it to that initially. I'm assuming, was inertia just what you always took in AoE and it just had too big of a power gap? It was better. I'm so happy about that. Bro, the difference between playing inertia versus momentum sounds like going back to what made momentum actually good and getting away from the trash that momentum has become. So I'm really glad that this ended up being good. It's kind of weird, right? Because like they can develop nice and new talents, but if they're not actually the best ones, you don't play them. So they actually feel like you didn't develop them, right? Like for example, let's say like the Windwalker tree, right? They made like a bunch of really fucking sick changes, but then the build that you ended up playing was Phaline Stomp and Rushing Jade Wind and Serenity. It's like, it doesn't matter about the good changes because what you're actually playing is absolutely dog shit. So yeah, so good thing you're not selecting momentum, current momentum. Vengeance, Dark Glare Boon and Sigil of Misery have swapped talent locations for Vengeance. Okay, we can go to the Vengeance tree. Oh, huh? Look, it's Dark Glare Boon. So now it's at the top? Oh, Sigil of... Oh, wrong tree. Typo in the notes. They meant Sigil of Chains. Okay, so Sigil of Chains is in easier to get spot, I assume. Okay, it's like in the middle now. So you still have a way to get it to go around it, but... and that used to be where Dark Glare Boon was. We can search. Oh, at the very bottom. I mean, yeah, if you want Sigil of Chains to be more central... Dude, the idea that Vengeance Demon Hunters are going to have Sigil of Chains in a not-ass spot again, and can have 2 charges of this and their other CC is like actually crazy. Like people are mentioning it as like dungeon stops, but like there's probably raid fights that exist where you would bring not just a Demon Hunter for Chaos Brand, but you would specifically bring a Vengeance Demon Hunter because they have more CC than every class in the game or something like that. It's definitely extremely powerful, which is kind of nice. It's like really good. It's like probably the only time I think that Vengeance has kind of come close to the value that like a Mass Grip can bring you, kind of, but like then you have A-bombs and single grip and stuff. But and then this probably makes more sense as a capstone because like, I don't know, it's just more powerful than this. I mean, you could argue the power level of Sigil of Chains. I mean, I would say Sigil of Chains is definitely something that you would not want to invest a million things to have to go get it because it's kind of singularly on its own, like really powerful when you want it. But I'm hoping that you can dodge it easily and not feel like you have to go through it. Like, hopefully Fiery Demise or Painbringer are always good, so that Sigil of Chains is just an option. Sounds like it probably is. So on fights where Sigil of Chains is irrelevant, you don't have to feel like you have to invest anything to go get it, which is probably why this change makes sense. Fell Devastation cooldown in general just reduced to 40 seconds, was 1 minute. Ooh. 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 Fiery Brand now deals damage every 1 second, was 2 seconds, dealing the same total damage over its duration. That's excellent, right? So that just means that Fiery Brand now just spreads more frequently. Well, how has that not been in the game since, like, the very beginning of Fiery Brand? I only briefly played that class when Fiery Brand was able to be actually moved around. But, I mean, the fact that, like, 2 seconds is such a long time, so cool. All right, Balanced Druid. 2-piece and 4-piece. Now increases the damage of Wrath and Starfire by 100p, was 60p. And the 4-piece nerfs here now increases your current Eclipse Arcane or Nature damage by an additional 2%, was 3, and up to 10% was 15. Yes, that's a pretty large tier nerf. Well, it's fun while it lasted, Moonkins. Fucking idiots. I didn't mean that. All right, Devastation Evoker. All spell and ability damage increased by 3% flat, and then Dissy G buffed by 15%. That is a fucking fat buff. I'm guessing somewhere around like 7 or 8% or something like that total. Single target. Devastation's a good class. Now they're even gooder, so gotta be pretty happy if you're a DPS dragon. Monk Mistweaver. Bounce back now reduces damage by 20 to 40 and triggers when you receive 15% of your max health. Isn't that the thing in the class tree that's like at the, like this thing? When a hit deals more than 20% of your max health, reduce all damage you take by 10% for 4 seconds. This was bugged at the beginning of the expansion. I'm assuming it's not now. Now they're saying now reduces the damage you take by 40%. And triggers when you receive 15% of your max health. Wait, wait, I'm assuming this is for all monks? Why would they randomly do this for Mistweaver? This sounds fucking great. Does anyone know if this thing works properly now? Oh, I know why they changed this. Okay, so more recently, they nerfed Holy Paladin, but not Ret Paladin, and that seemed really weird because Ret was tankier than Holy. But the reason why is because Holy Paladins, people in the healer community were complaining, rightfully so, that Holy Paladins were way more tanky than every other healer, and that was correct. So this is probably in the same line of thinking as them nerfing specifically Holy Paladin before, is they are looking to buff specifically healer damage reduction. They want to balance that across the board. So they're not looking at monks in general. They're looking at specifically healer balance defensively, which is why this only changed for Mistweaver. But I think, because like, do Windwalkers need to be tankier? The answer to that is certainly no. And then Brewmasters are tanks. So it's like, I mean, Brewmasters are good, right? So you don't necessarily need that. Also, you very rarely take big hits for your health because of stagger, although you do get hit for more than 15%, but yeah. So I haven't used bounce back since the beginning of this expansion because it was like really weird in how it worked. Does it work properly? Like, is this like very consistent? Is there an ICD on this? Is there an ICD on bounce back, or can you just, this bitch is just up? 30-second ICD? It's still good though. The only problem with this is, and this is, again, let's point out super first world problems, okay? I mean, just I don't want to hear it. I know from some people they're going to be like, whatever, but Mistweaver monks and monks in general have this really weird problem where they have 2 raid buffs in their class tree. I know, so shit that they have 2 raid buffs, right? But I'm just going to make up a talent tree here for a second. Keep in mind, this is almost certainly wrong and not correct, but I just kind of want to point it out. So I'll just pick things that look like generally good, and I'm just going to assume that these are like okay, but they're probably bad, and please hopefully understand that. Don't tell me like select something else. Just know that I get it. Okay? I get it. Okay, Rising Sun Kick Dam, no Touch of Death. Probably are going to want to grab Dispel most of the time, damage dealt nodes, and then Kick is dependent on the fight for Brew figured out. But then, okay, you're going to actually need to go down this tree, interestingly enough, to get Generous Pour, but we'll figure that out. So Close to Heart, you need that. You probably need Save Them All, maybe Jade Serpent Statue. Do you guys take Jade Serpent Statue as Mistweaver? In raid, yes. Okay, so Eye of the Tiger seems like bad, so let's get rid of that. And man, I really want Fortifying Brew, but Fortifying Brew is like a 4-minute CD, and it's like pretty piss. But then that's the only way to not grab Touch of Death. Okay, we're just gonna ignore this shit, and we're just gonna grab Touch of Death to get Generous Pour. So Generous Pour, Close to Heart, these two are 100% required, assuming you're the only monk in the raid. You want Save Them All because it's good, and then you want Summon Jade Serpent Statue in raid. So how many points do you have left? 4? So I guess you can kind of get some shit. Am I missing, I mean, Summon White Tiger Statue is so fucking trash. Actually, I guess maybe it's less trash for Mistweaver because it's going to be flat damage, and your flat damage is more relevant when you're a healer. But I'm trying to wonder if like you can even get bounce back with how tied up your class tree is with raid buffs for other people. Escape to Reality ×2. That's probably fight dependent, right? Oh, no, it's not because of the Vivify thing, yeah. Oh, yeah, the roll charge. Currently, you don't have this. So you're missing a lot of good stuff. Now, let me see. Okay, I probably got this super wrong, but let me see like what let's see what the default is here. And let's just see what their recommended talent build for raid is. All right, so here's what your class tree looks like, right? You're definitely going to take Dampen. You're definitely going to take Diffuse. You have to take Generous Pour. You have to take Close to Heart. But how the fuck are you going to get Bounce Back? You have to, like, drop Fortifying Brew for it, I guess. Maybe you don't need a kick on a fight. You can get a second roll charge. It's still, like, really... You don't need Ring of Peace all the time. So, like, you could drop Ring and grab a point in it. Or... My only point of doing all of this was just to point out that the Monk tree is really strange and probably could use some reworks anyway, but... I don't know. There's just, because you just have these two things here, no, you don't feel like you have any agency over your board. You're just like fully stuck getting required things for your raid, which like really weird to complain about when, you know, like for example, when like an Ellie Shaman hears you say, oh man, I have to spend 4 class tree points to get raid buffs that are fucking broken and put me in the raid all the time. Oh, that sucks, bro. That really sucks that you have to do that, you know, but no other class that has raid buffs has to do that. So... It is strange. Clouded Focus now stacks 2 times, was 3, and no longer increases the healing of Vivify before its first application. Okay, so that's a nerf, right? Vivify and Invigorating Mist healing buffed in general, and then the 4-piece now, Chi Harmony now stores 20% of ult. So a little 4-piece buff, little Vivi buff, and then Clouded Focus nerf. I don't know exactly about that. Oh, wait, whoa. Okay, I didn't even read this. Fucking Windwalker changes. This is my fucking neck of the woods recently. Let's see about this. We liked the positive effect that Fangs of the Vermilion Forge had on Windwalker's single target damage and are transferring some of that power to the class set transferring some of that power from the class set into the base specialization as players adventure into the raid and replace their existing gear. The net effect of these changes is an overall increase in character power. Additionally, we heard that concerns that the effort required to play Whirling Dragon Punch wasn't worth the resulting increase in power. I mean, yeah, you could say that you wish Whirling Dragon Punch was better. It's not like a lot of effort to play it. I would say, if anything, it's just like a little anti-synergistic with Zwen's battle gear. Like, they kind of serve the same purpose in your rotation, but you can certainly still play it fine. But either way, we agree and have increased the damage it deals the result. We've also added an additional damage to the 4-piece additional damage to the 4 set as the cooldown reduction, while fun, was not entirely meeting our goals for the additional power granted. Yeah, the 4-piece is pretty weak. Okay, this is great. This is fucking great. We love to see this. So the reason that Windwalkers do not do well from patch to patch is because mainly the 2 of their stats are complete dog shit, mainly one of them. And anytime classes don't scale at all with haste, they usually just fall behind in patches. The Verse is one of their best stats. You guys know the case. Anytime Verse is one of your best stats, that means the rest of your stats are clearly not good enough and they should buff them and make them give you more value. Not that they should be best, but they should certainly be better, because Verse is baseline the same for everyone. Typically, this affects you over the course of the expansion. Windwalkers pretty famously are good at the beginning of the patch and fall off really hard, mainly due to people getting eye level and getting much more power than them over the course of a patch, and certainly much more clearly over the course of an expansion. But also another issue that Windwalkers had is every single tier bonus has to buff Rising Sun Kick and Fist of Fury for those 2 things to do the damage they should do anyway. There's nothing wrong with the tier set buffing them, but it was like a band-aid fix that they kept having to do. But then this tier, they finally didn't just flat buff your 2 abilities like they have for the last couple. So because of that, they weren't doing as much as you would like. So they're basically saying, hey, we understand that. And we're baking the power from the tier into the actual class. So this is a change that has needed to happen for a long time. They should probably do this even more and more frequently. But very good change. I have personally been asking for this for a while. And then let's see past this. So Fist Fury buff good, Rising Sun Kick good, Whirling Dragon Punch buff fine. Oh, and then they nerfed the new tier set. Let's see. Rising Sun Kick bonus damage reduced to 5% was 10, and 4 set Fist of Fury reduced to 20 was 30. I haven't seen... Does a Windwalker guide Riderman... Can someone give me the overall damage increase on single target from the 2 and 4-piece? Because I can generally relate that to other classes. Oh, that's the old tier. Oh, you're right. Sorry, I didn't even realize that. So they nerfed the old tier because they don't want you to wear it, and they're baking that power into your class. So that's fine. No change, really. And then the 4-piece for the new raid now increases the damage of Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, Strike of the Windlord, and Whirling Dragon Punch by 4%, as well as the CDR portion of it. Oh, so this is just all good, right? I think the 4-piece new tier must be a typo. Why would it be a typo? Oh, because... Wait. Yeah, why would it be a typo? They said they're going to not only give you the CDR, but we're going to give you a little damage bonus too, and then they just did that. What's the typo? It doesn't really mean a lot for me. As long as you are speccing Serenity and Feline Stomp, I will not be playing this class. I think those abilities are absolutely horrible to play. Terrible, terrible, terrible buttons. So until that changes, certainly never playing Windwalker, but definitely good changes for sure. All right, Shadow Priest. So they've been pretty down bad recently. Let's see if that gets any better. A Mirror the Dream's Hope 2-cent now triggers an additional death at 15% effectiveness plus 20. Okay, nerfed again. 4-set bonus now increases the damage of Shadow Crash by 50% per stack was 100. The reason why they nerfed this specifically is I believe they were pressing Shadow Crash in single target, which is good and bad. Bad because it feels bad, but good in the sense that anytime in this game you can AoE, if you're doing your AoE rotation on single target, those classes are famously very powerful because in raid scenarios where you need to do both and in dungeon scenarios where you need to do both, you're not really losing single target to do AoE. So I believe this was made in an attempt to have Shadow Crash not actually be usable single target. But if I know Blizzard, they probably did this and you still do, which would be very funny. And then now highlight Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Crash at 12 stacks. And previously it was 10. I don't know if that really matters. Very, very lit. Can I get that correct from Shadow Priest people? Actually, no, I'll just call public later if he's around. And if not, I'll just make it up. Improved wound poisons, superior mixture, and atrophic and numbing poisons have shuffled talent locations. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting because one of those is a required raid buff. It's really not required. It just is. Would we have killed Sarkareth on Mythic without atrophic poison for World First? Yes. But it would have made progression harder, and you would have brought the rogue anyway because, you know, you could probably say that about almost any individual raid buff besides a few of them. But yeah, I mean, it's turbo required, in my opinion. Unless rogue was, like, really, really bad. Oh, did they put it farther down? Interesting. I wonder if that matters. I mean, it's still, you have to take this, but let's see. Crippling Poison reduces movement speed by an additional 10%. Okay, you're not going to take that, at least in PvE, almost always. And then movement speed increase. Okay, so you're taking fleet-footed, so it's always just a 1-point option. This probably doesn't matter at all. I wonder why they made that change. Probably not super important, but... Okay, Assassination. Leeching Poison now grants 10% leech was 5. Does not apply in PvP combat. Oh, that's pretty... Wait, I don't know if Assassination's any good, but that is... where is Leeching Poison? Is that Assassination only? Let's see. It's in the class tree. Oh, so it's one of those weird things where Assassination gets Leeching Poison in their class tree, or... They all get Leeching Poison, but specifically Assassinations is stronger. It looks like it's the last thing I said. Yeah, okay. So Assassinations gets 10%. It's pretty good. You'll feel that more. Crimson Tempest damage reduced by 5%. Okay. Blindside now causes ambush to replace Mutilate when the effect is triggered. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I'm trying to think if that's bad. It sounds really nice for especially most players. But I mean, you already have... blinds, you already have ambush bound because like you need to like go stealth, and I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure this just saves you a keybind, just straight up just saves you a keybind. Did they do that for the other specs? They didn't, right? Like for Outlaw, for example. That's really good, I think. Yeah, it's right here. Nice. That is an I don't know why they haven't done that before. I think that's a smart change. Am I missing something? I could also see, maybe I'm just so paranoid from people complaining, but I could also see rogues randomly hating this. Like, I could see someone making a probably bad argument where they're like, this lowers the skill cap of the class, therefore it's bad, even though it's a good change. Have you guys heard anyone do that? I think that'd be a pretty brutal argument, but people are doing exactly that. Yeah, that's you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the hardcore and dying to DCs thing. Like, people were complaining about dying to DCs in hardcore Diablo, and then people were like, bro, you can't even be mad, because like that's part of what happens in hardcore. And to an extent, that's true, right? But then they actually recently made Scroll of Escape auto pop when you DC to make it so you don't die to a DC, or that's the intention. And what would make sense is that before you were like, hey, this is what you signed up for, this is what happened, and that's true. But what would be insane is if you saw the ability for a game developer to remove you dying out of your control, and then you're against that. You're like, no, it's not how it should be. Hardcore, you should die if you DC. That's like a terrible argument, right? So it's kind of like that, where I'll probably still have them separately bound. Wait, why would you even be mad about it, though? Because can't you just, like, you can still have ambush bound. So you can literally just press ambush in its old keybind. You don't have to get used to doing that, right? Or did they change that? Is ambush literally gone from your bar or some shit, and like you can now only press the Sinister Strike button? Yeah, but you can't use Sinister Strike. I'm trying to think of it, but don't you want to always press ambush instead of Sinister Strike when it's up? Not like always, but like way more often. I think is it always? If there are stance delay issues, it's possible that you accidentally cast Sinister Strike instead. Oh yeah, but just fix that. Okay, I'm going to go with, I kind of randomly called out why people were mad about this, but I'm just going to say this is a good change And people who are mad about this were probably mad about something else in their day, I think. Like they like got pulled over by the cops on the way home or something, and they're just generally like irritable. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Sanguine Blades Energy Protect. This is the new Exsanguinate, but it's like the passive one. They renamed it. Energy consumed per tick and the damage duplicated increased. Okay, so they actually made it less energy consumption and increased the damage. I'm assuming that this was like underpowered or not good in the previous build. Okay, Sudden Demise now has a 10-second delay after triggering before being able to trigger again on the same target. Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to look it up. Amir Drasil, 4-set and Venomous Explosion increased by 150. Yes, this is what I was looking for. I'm so glad they did this. I don't know if this is going to make it good enough, but when I read this before, it was basically like when you Envenom, most of the time, you are going to just AoE everything around you. But that means that there's no way you can tune that properly for AoE in single target. It's either going to be way too good in AoE or it's going to be dog shit in single target. But this completely fixes that with design. So right direction. I don't know if it's enough, but this is the exact idea of what this should feel like. Whatever, like you should feel like this gives you a huge increase on single target, like most 4 pieces should, but then like when it AoEs, it feels pretty good. Outlaw, Sinister Strike damage increase, generally speaking, that, and then killing 3 damage increase. Okay, so good for Outlaw. You know, I'm thinking about it more. I think it actually does make sense that you would want to actually have like 2 keybinds for this, and you think it's like fun gameplay to like react to a proc and then press a different button. And now you're just pressing the one button. So you're like, if you're someone who loves the class, right? You're like, you feel like it's just less sophisticated and that makes you personally upset. So it's not as much gatekeeping. It's just like, you feel like you'll have less fun. But I think that Outlaw, especially when you take some of those other talents, like if you take like basically every possible keybind in single target, compared to most classes, it's pretty excessive. They've done across the board. They've tried to reduce keybinds this patch. So I bet this is exactly in relation to that. Like they in the worst case scenario, they want Outlaw to not have as many buttons to like have to bounce around and keybind. And I think that's, if you're going to do that, this is one of the better ways to do it. So I think I can see a downside to it, and it's not like completely unrealistic. Like it makes sense for someone to be upset about this, but I think it's probably still overall a good change. That's my final take on it. I've had like 10 minutes to think about it now. That's my final take. Abyss increased the healing thing where you now heal for 5% of your finishing moves, and it also stacks up and absorb up to 10% of your HP. That's actually really interesting. Let's actually look at that talent. I think this is really cool. Is it on their regular tree? Your finishing moves heal you for this, and you gain up to shield up to 10% of your HP. Did they swap this thing's position? No. Like, what do you think would be better? Exhilarating Execution or Leeching Poison? Leeching Poison is going to heal you a lot more than Exhilarating Execution will, but on certain fights, you're going to have an absorb to not get one-shot or proc cheat. Like, it's weird. Like, I bet if you were to look at a fight, Leeching Poison would heal you an absolutely insane amount more than this, but I still think that this might actually be better. It's certainly fight dependent. Like if you're constantly getting rotted on a fight, Leeching Poison's probably better. But if there's ever a scenario where you are realistically topped, but then there's a massive damage hit, you could take this instead because it means you don't have to feint. And contrary to what anyone who hasn't played Rogue before will tell you, which is just Lamau, just feint that. Anyone who says feint is like the most broken defensive just has not played Rogue. There's a clear opportunity cost to use it, and it's oftentimes like really fucking annoying. Like those same people would have the option to press feint on their character, and they would try to avoid it at all costs as well. Max, someone is telling me right now that Crimson Vial is a good defensive. Crimson Vial's okay. It's like probably the worst defensive of all the things that get reduced by Symbol of Hope, though. Yeah, there's one of them. I have to press my 40% DR baby rage. Yeah, some extra shit here. Shaman! Fix an issue where Prim Wave is giving you 24% haste instead of 20 when you're only using a single target. Okay. Ellie Blast can now refresh and extend the duration of the haste up to 130% of the base duration, but would still prefer to apply a buff you don't already have. That's a good change. Fix an issue where further beyond but not properly extend a sentence to the max duration if the extension amount would have put it beyond the maximum extension amount. Oh, so like if the maximum extension was 18 seconds or something, just making this up, and you had 16 seconds and you proc further beyond, it actually wouldn't do anything because it was trying to put you over and it wouldn't let you do that. So just like a bug fix basically. Oh, same thing here. 4-piece. Fix an issue where the 4-set bonus was being activated without the 4-set being equipped. Wait, what? Super not important, but I just don't think I've ever read that before. Fixed an issue where you were getting your 4-set proc without even having it. What? Okay. 4-set. Fix an issue where subsequent lava bursts after Prim Wave from the 4-set were causing splintered elements to activate. Oh man, that's good as fuck. That's fucking sick. Damn, that's sad. That would have been fucking insane. Let's go. Just fucking haste, baby. Love that. A Mirdrasil, fix an issue where Lava Burst benefiting from Molten Charge from the 4 set. We're dealing 80% rather than 100%. Okay, it's about that. Yeah, I mean, Ellies were bugged good, and they should have fixed all these bugs, but Ellies are going to feel bad because they're not getting anything to replace it. It's not like they were unbelievably OP even with this stuff. And then still, probably need to keep bringing this up. They're the only one of 2 specs in the game that don't have something that puts them in the raid at all times. Pretty bad that's the case. They fixed the same thing with Splendid Elements as Enhance, and they buffed the Riptide healing for Resto. Affliction. I hate reading Warlock stuff. Can we just skip this? I'll just have THD, like, fill me in. Warlocks. All right, Warriors. All right, Fury Warriors have been absolutely so upset. Just Warriors in general. The previous design of Reckless Abandon was influencing builds and rotations too heavily, encouraging players to focus either entirely on Bloodthirst or Raging Blow at the expense of the other. We want Fury Warriors to use both abilities regularly, so we are changing the design slightly so it only affects your rotation choice immediately after using Rampage and open up more build options. These changes will be applied over the course of the week. So Reckless Abandon now only empowers your next 1 Bloodthirst from Raging or Raging Blow was 2. And Reckless Abandon's Bloodbath and Crushing Blow damage has been doubled. Oh, I thought I read something different than this. Is this a good change? There were different changes that were data mined? Yeah, those are the ones I think I saw. And I think those were like sick. All right, let's open up the tier list, baby. Let's try to see how people are feeling. All right, we have the full list here. Let's go back to the notes. Again, if you guys are unfamiliar with this is basically just something we've been doing since the very beginning of the 10.2 announcement and changes being posted. We are trying to keep a running tally on how people are feeling about the patch in reference to the changes that have been added going into the patch. Like, how are you feeling? You ask someone very simply, hey man, are you excited going to the new patch? And they're like, yeah, I love the changes I got. Or no, I hate them. My class is less fun. All those things. This is not a power tier list. It is a feel tier list. All right, so let's get it popping here. So Havoc had a kind of not important talent swap between Tactical Retreat and Unbound Chaos. Doesn't really change much. Burning Hatred nerf, Inner Demon nerf, which is like they removed some uncapped AoE and like a little bit of a single target nerf from them. They nerfed Inertia, which is the super fun, like old momentum kind of talent, and they nerfed Chaotic Disposition. Okay, so Havoc has only been nerfed this week, but there's no way that you're not feeling real good. In fact, Havoc Demon Hunters probably should have been up here as far as how they feel for how different their class plays and stuff. So I'm assuming it's still just going to stay way up here, even though you've had some slight nerfs. None of it's game breaking, and they're still obviously extremely powerful. So we can't move them up because it would make no sense to move them up after only negative changes, but I don't even think it moves down in this list. Havoc's feeling great. And pretty much no matter what, any class getting redesigned or reworked in some way, you just feel real good because you know you're also going to be powerful. With extreme accuracy, when they've reworked classes, those classes have been extremely strong. So you just assume that will also be the case. Vengeance. So Vengeance, they moved around the Sigil of Chains position on the tree, and they added Dark Glare Boon to the bottom to be a capstone. They reduced Felled Devastation cooldown baseline, and they made Fiery Brand to do the same amount of damage, but just spread twice as often. Currently, we have Vengeance and feeling real good for a lot of the same reasons that Havoc has. They've obviously had a bunch of great changes. I don't think it moves up one, and I think it's probably still really fucking good. Let's see. What do we have after this? Druid Balance. Ooh. So Balance was in good changes because a lot of the like stuff on the tree got moved into good spots, but their 4-set got nerfed like pretty real. So I'm assuming that they're kind of like, I don't know about this. And that could probably depend on who you are as a player. Like, for example, if you're a Mythic Pluser and you think that your class maybe won't be the best in Mythic Plus now and you're worried about your gameplay time, you could not maybe feel very good about that. Or if you're like, hey, there are 4 different Druid specs and one of them is going to be, brought to the raid for Mark of the Wild, assuming there's not multiple. Are we the strongest of those 4? I'm not sure. Maybe you think that this makes you go down 1 or something, but what do the Moonkins feel like? You guys got your 4-piece nerf pretty real. Awful. Got absolutely fucked. So you're telling me, wait, so have we been getting this wrong? Or are you guys saying this 4-piece nerf alone makes you go down 5 tiers? Oh, I see. So this is one of those weird scenarios where at the beginning of 10.2 being announced, people were just going based off changes and they were purely basing it off of design because none of the tuning has happened yet. But now as we're getting closer to 10.2, still about a month away probably, people are now really crunching the numbers, and it's possible that the reason why you guys think it's so down is because you weren't really concerned about tuning as much last week, but as every week goes on now how strong you are compared to other classes is becoming part of the reason why whether you are happy about the patch or not. Is that correct? I really don't want that to be a thing though, like, because like you could just get a buff next week that like buffs your class. Like they haven't even really started tuning a lot yet, like for overall tuning. So I think we're probably still a few weeks away from that. Plus I also think that's boring. Like if you just do it based on how strong you think your class is going to be, which most people are just guessing anyway, it just becomes a power tier list. I'm not doing that. We'll do a final one at the end. But for now, I think I'm okay with the 4-piece nerf being moved down one. I think that's fine. I think the whole like going down 4 things because of a 2 and 4-piece nerf is they did a lot of other changes with your pathing in your tree this patch. Moving on to dev. And again, if you guys want an official take and not me just guessing, because again, you guys feel the way you feel, I'm not doing this every week, but like as 10.2 gets closer, we will do one stream where we like actually call people from each spec and make sure we get it right. Not to mention, Moonkins, you guys are well known for over complaining. I'll say it. There's a few specs where that's true. Certainly, you are one of them, and it's never as bad as you all make it out to be. Devastation Evokers. Pretty good class, and they just got buffed by 8%. So I think the reason they were in good changes before was because they actually didn't really get a ton of good changes. They were just like a good spec. And I think the reason they weren't here is because AUG existed, and I still feel like a lot of Devastation Evokers feel like they won't be able to play Devastation because they may, in their group dynamic, be forced to play AUG either in Raid or in Dungeons. I mean, that's literally what happened this patch, right? It's pretty easy to assume that that could happen to you. So can you be feeling real good if you feel like you can't even play the spec because you have to play the support one? I could definitely see the argument of moving Devastation up to the top of good changes, but I think it's hard to put it in the same tier as feeling real good as AUG because you may just not even be able to play the spec you want. So maybe just leave it here. Mistweaver, buffed bounce back, but it's really hard to get it in your talent tree. They nerfed Clouded Focus, buffed Vivify, nerfed Chi Harmony, or buffed Chi Harmony. Currently, they're near the top of good changes. They were at like the way highest tier before this shit got nerfed. This is probably a very slight nerf, if anything, pretty similar. So maybe just move them down a little bit. Probably leave it at that. Not a huge deal. Is a healer. Windwalker, pretty much buffs across the board. They nerfed old tier, not relevant. Buffed new tier. Buffed baseline Rising Sun Kick and Fist of Fury damage. You would have to be an insane pessimist to say that this does not go up. Probably goes up 2 whole tiers. So yeah, it's probably fine. Those are really, really good changes. But me personally, again, my personal opinion, not speaking for all Windwalkers, certainly. As long as this class is playing Fightline Stomp or Serenity, or even really those are realistic options, I think this is a horrible, horrible spec to play. And it's just so sad that there are great talents without those and you don't play them because they're better. So just because of that, I'm going to move it one more thing down because I can do whatever the fuck I want. Okay, Priest. I'm assuming Priest is going to somehow it got worse. So Priest had so they nerfed their tier again, and they specifically nerfed the Shadow Crash thing because they were using it on single target. That had to be why they specifically chose to nerf this. But I believe you still press it on single target, it just feels worse, which is like the opposite of the outcome that you want. So yeah, that has to be somehow it got worse for sure. And we're leaving this, and you said, Max, reminder to drop Prop Paladin 1 tier because of Consecration gameplay. Oh yeah, you're right. I said last week, even though this is probably going to make Prop Paladin look different than the rest of this list, I said that until Prop Paladins don't have to constantly stand in their Consecrate, they just deserve to be knocked down 1 tier every single week until that changes. So this is not representative of Prop Paladin's power, but this whole list is not representative of anyone's power. It's representative of how they feel. And it's kind of a meme, but until this class stops being based around standing in a fucking Consecrate all the time, even when you need to move out of it and replace it, it's going to keep going down. Is that going to get changed before this patch? Absolutely not. Probably not even before the end of this expansion. But I said we'd do it, so we're going to do it. Let's see. So that's past Paladin. They would have talked about Paladin already. Max, same with Blood Decay. They also need to stand in their Death and Decay. It's not at the same level, though. Standing in a Blood Decay, standing in your Death and Decay is preferable, and it's good for a lot of your talents and cleaving and like a little bit of haste. But standing in your Consecrate on Paladin is you are doing that or you're instantly dead. So it's definitely different. Okay, so moving to Rogue. Assassination. It seems like they've just made better changes for Assassination. I think currently all the Rogue specs are in feeling real good until further notice because they're getting reworked, and that's real good. I think some people would probably feel some ways about a few of these specs just based on their current power level, but I still really don't think they've been tuned. So I think we'll probably chill a week on that. It's more like feel. And it seems like these field changes are probably really good. Like Sanguine Blade is going to feel a lot better. I don't even know if you'll take it. You didn't take it before. For Assassination, for sure, the ambush and blindside thing is actually a good change. Like, just straight up. So I'm assuming that's just going to stay there. Outlaw, sounds like there's like a civil war going on. There's like a lot of people that are fucking pissed and a lot of people that are happy about the Sinister Strikes being ambush or whatever. But I'm just going to say this is one of those things where when things are going so good for you, you find a way to complain about things like that. That is just so completely inconsequential. And I bet within a week or so, no one is talking about this at all and certainly won't last into the patch. So I'm just going to move on and say that's a little bit of an overreaction either way. So yeah, I just don't think that's a big deal. You're definitely turbo happy if you're an outlaw player right now. Subtlety just buffs around the board, right? So you're still up here. Sounds good. Ellie Shaman. Okay. Ellie Shaman was bugged real good. And they basically fixed all the bugs that were making them not even like super OP, but these nerfs are going to make them like, you know, a bit worse. So they'll need some tuning, but if you're an Ellie Shaman, I actually think this is fair. I think we need to add another row. Only classes in game without raid buff. Ellie Shaman's moving down to that until further notice. That has to be the most tilting thing on earth. That needs to be addressed for sure. Only specs in the game without raid buff. All right. And then we have, what do we have outside of this? We have Enhance. Enhance is feeling fucking awesome. Enhance has been so well made, the whole expansion, and it just keeps getting better. Like, if you've actually been paying attention to Enhance or you played as an alt, you're probably like, dude, how is my class like getting no attention? And Enhance has been great the whole time, and it keeps getting better gameplay-wise. You could even argue that this gets moved up. Not because of this change, but it's just, this class is so fucking fun and good. Okay, don't bring any attention to Enhance. That's how they'll nerf it. This is not a power tier list, yeah. Okay, and then Resto. Same thing with Resto. I don't care about this. They go down here. It's fair. Only specs in the game without a raid buff. You could also apply this to Blood DK, but I'm going to not do that because the reason that I said the same thing about like DKs having a raid buff in general is the grip thing, and Blood DK still serves that role and very frequently gets played in raiding content. Just in case there's any random people like that. It's just sorry if you're a DK player, it's just simply not on the same level as these two. And it's not close. Okay, Warlocks. I don't know. So currently what? Demos and absolutely fucked. Destros and Afflictions I mean Destro, okay, let me call him. Get the ASCIIs going, you'll summon him. Hey, what's up, big dog? What's the deal with Warlocks?
Yo, what's good?
Hello.
Your stream, there's hold on, let me look at it. I can't read it.
Why?
I need a gift sub.
Why can't you read it? Are you getting ads?
Yeah, there's a commercial break in progress. That's what it says.
Wait, that's not I don't have ads playing for another 10 minutes. Oh, you probably clicked on the stream. You don't have a working ad blocker?
It broke like yesterday, but it's all right. It's fine. I just haven't watched Twitch the last 2 days. So what's good? Let me look up the notes. Hold on.
Yeah, does anything change, you feel like?
Yeah, I got some things. I need a refresher. Oh no, this is the old one. Hold on. Okay, Affliction. What was it? Soul Eater's Gutling. Yeah, they basically did what they did to Grind Warlock's design like 2 weeks ago to that. The tier set works around that, and it was very annoying, especially after Lust. The cooldown wouldn't be 30 seconds lower, it'd be like 20 seconds lower, so it wouldn't line up with your stuff, so it lines up better for Affliction. That is great. And then the second one's a bug fix, which is good. That's a tier set.
Does it go up a level, do you think? Are you happy about Affliction?
Siphon Life still exists.
So it can't go up, yeah.
It will forever be
All right.
But it's a good change, you know. We take those. You can move it to the top of
Yeah, okay, I'll have it at the top of it, but it cannot go higher than that as long as Siphon Life exists. Okay.
Yep.
No, I believe that too. I don't even think that's like meaningless complaining. I feel the exact same way about talents on some other classes where they're just absolutely
Serenity.
horrible. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely horrible, and anytime they're good, it makes the class worse. Siphon Life. There's not a single Siphon Life fan.
All right. So Demo.
Yep.
Doom brand is more consistent. That was a tier piece. It was really inconsistent. Sometimes you do 10% on the 4-piece. Sometimes you do 2. It's more consistent now.
Very good.
It's better. It's better. It probably won't do 10. It'll probably do like 6 all the time, but that's better than doing 2 or 10.
Okay.
Some PvP change for the second one, I guess. Dispel, I guess, instead of just only when it blows up.
Wait, your Felguard got lost, or your Immutable Hatred got lost?
Immutable Hatred.
Okay.
Yeah, so the thing is, with that Immutable Hatred change, they applied like 20 bugs, so it's overtuned again.
Okay.
Big problem there. We keep getting bugged abilities that make us look very powerful. I don't know what Doom Brand applied on when using a Demonic Core. It's not really much different. I guess there was people trying to hardcast Demon Bolt instead of... Oh, they were hardcasting Demon Bolt on the open. Yeah, no, that's not good.
Okay, don't do that.
So they changed that one. Yep. Now when you use a core, you don't have to hardcast it. People were hardcasting it for some reason to apply the tier set.
Cringe.
So, you know, I don't think it's anything magnificent here. It just seemed they just fixed some bugs and made the tier more consistent.
Does it go up though?
Well, you still tab target your tier set.
Is that and that's not fun?
No. Have you ever you tab target
Yeah, I mean, I play Enhance and Windwalker. You tab target like Lashing Flames and Mark of the Crane. I'm just assuming as a ranged, it's cringe.
Yeah, it's not good. You just keep tab targeting everything.
All right, so it doesn't go up. It stays in absolutely.
Maybe
fucked.
you move it up and absolutely fucked. That can work.
All right, it's ahead of Guardian. Sounds good.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and people keep mentioning this. Like someone in chat earlier said, top 5 PTR performance, guaranteed rate spot, gonna be a feels bad for all 3 specs average Warlock. And I had to point out again, it's really hard for people to get past this. I know, but it's not. This is not a power thing. We're not saying what class they're gonna be best in the patch. This is how you feel about the design of your class and the changes they've made.
Also, last build it was overperforming by 10% because of a bug.
All right,
They fixed this build, but applied another bug. So.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about the Destro thing? What does this mean?
The Destro thing, I believe that's the tier set. It was just getting double benefit, I guess, from crit strikes.
So it doesn't go down after, it's just a fix?
It's just a bug fix, but, you know, part of me, after playing Destro in Mythic Plus with the new tier set, part of me wants to move it down.
Really? Is it not fun? That's fine. This is all about feel. If you've played it and you're like, damn, this feels worse than I thought, that's the whole point of this.
That, having to run that talent at the bottom of your capstone, in the bottom middle of the entire tree.
All right, we'll put it down. Feels
when
bad.
You're thinking about you want to put on 0 pieces of tier and rock a different talent, it's not good.
Yeah. Damn, dude. What would you, if you could change anything about Destro, or maybe add something back from the past to like make this class generally more fun to play, what would it be? Would it be like casting while moving, like Kill Jade and shit? Would it, like, what would it be?
Something to cast while move. In prior expansions, when we did Conflagrate, you got 2 charges of backdraft. You only get 1 right now. So you're just like super slow.
So you're slow and also like you're not getting that cast.
Yeah, your casts are like 2 seconds long and you can't move.
What about, did you ever play Warlock when Fire and Brimstone was like a good AoE thing?
Yeah, yes, it was a toggle one WAD. I played WAD. It
Yeah.
was really fun. Obviously the Chaos Bolt one was OP, but you know, looking aside from that, applying AoE Immolate was great. Cataclysm is still in our tree and never picked, and could go baseline and would help us apply AoE Immolate.
Yep. Okay, that works. All right, thanks, big dog.
Yep.
Yep, see ya. All right, now we have Warrior. Reckless Abandon now empowers your next 1 Bloodthirst or Raging Blow, was 2, and Reckless Abandon's Bloodbath and Crushing Blow bonus damage has been doubled. So you're basically getting the same power from it, but your rotation is not impacted as much. I mean, actually, this is just a buff, right? Because you're spending 1 global to do the same damage you used to do 2. You just straight up gain a global every time. I swear I read a like more in-depth change than this somewhere, but I don't remember where it was, so I'm not gonna elaborate on it. But yeah, I don't know. It makes sending Rampage. The tier set got changed. PTR data mined. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. The tier set also got tweaked. Yeah, can someone show me that? Like, where is a public leak, or like not leak, but like where is a public thing of that so I can talk about it? The data mine tier set change. Scroll down. There's no down. This is the end. It's on Wowhead. Okay, posted 21 hours ago. You said. Okay. Oh, data mine class and tier set changes. Okay, so it was in this giant information dump shitty Wowhead post thing. Oh, so this Odin's Fury deals 50% increased damage and causes your next 6 Bloodthirst to deal an additional 150% damage and have 100% increased crit strike against primary target. Is that like, is this is what I saw. This is what I'm referring to. I'm assuming this is good, right? Makes it stack now. It stacks to 6, doesn't give 6. Oh, so just higher stacks. Oh, quality of life change then. Okay. All right. Zeos Area 52 said, just put Fury in good changes. I speak for all warriors. Really? We'll put it at the bottom. That's actually crazy. So in 1 week, you guys are saying this is some quality of life shit, but they're saying from 1 week it went from like needs God to good changes. Zeos knows, chat. Zeos knows. He knows. Sorry, I don't make the rules around here. Fuck everyone saying no, they're spitting fake news. I believe him. I believe him. Max, can we put MM in Found God? I'm an MM main. Dude, I put MM up 1 tier last week because it got a raid buff, and Azur messaged me and was like, put it at the very bottom. This class is shit. I was like, oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. These changes are bad. And that's basically it, I think. Yeah. Damn, so we actually like can kind of remove 2 of these tiers here. Because this class needs rework badge to be removed, because like pretty much everyone who hasn't had their class get reworked yet probably feels that way. Because like rework doesn't mean like full rework. It just means like, hey, would you feel good or bad about your class getting a tune-up like rogues and demon hunters have gotten this patch? Every single person would be like, yep, that sounds fucking good to me. That sounds real good. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about arms. Okay, my only question with arms is like, you guys keep saying arms needs to go way down, but like nothing got posted about arms. Is it just like attrition? Like every week that goes by with arms not getting posted, you're more and more Dobby because you feel like it needs so much help? Is it that? I mean, that makes sense. All right, Zeo speaks for all warriors. Where does it go? Let's see. Where's the final thing? Pause champ. This is some bullshit. Children, what do you mean? This is true. Arms is doomed. Okay. That probably means at the very bottom. Except they just simply do have a raid buff, so somehow it got worse. Or wait, needs God can be doomed. That's a good way to fix this. Because if they don't get notes next week, they need a place to go. Because they can't go any lower than this. I really wonder what they could do to shamans, actually. Like, let's just say Wind Fury Totem got put in the class tree, right? That's like, I've heard people say that. Like, Wind Fury shouldn't be Enhance only. They get... Because, like, Enhance should technically be happy about that. Because then they just gain a spec tree point. So that's just, you know, that's good. And then every shaman gets it. But then, like, okay, I'm not positive about this, but I'm pretty sure if you told an Ellie shaman they would have to put a totem down and then project it into melee, they would hate their lives. Like, they think they want a raid spot to that, but they really don't. Like, they would just fucking hate that bad. And then that also applies for, like, putting down fucking Sky Fury Totem or whatever the fuck. Because then that doesn't solve the problem of shamans not having a raid buff. Because now you have 2 shamans instead of 1. And then it's like, okay, now it's like even more. Like, I don't know. It should be like singular. Not a fan of the 2 classes per raid buff thing, even though a few of them have it. Just make it 100 yards. Yeah. Make Wind Fury a passive buff similar to Arcane Intellect and give it a 3% chance to duplicate any spell or melee attack available for all specs. So that would like roughly increase damage by like 3%. I mean, yeah, that would become one of the better raid buffs. I mean, so yeah, you're saying like, why not do that? So Blizzard, they really don't want to, they think it's too boring to like just give classes a 60-minute buff. So they want to do it in like cool ways, like Hunter's Mark and, you know, Warlock utility and stuff like that, even though some classes do have those things. But then you could pretty much argue that it's like, hey, when you've already gone this far, it would actually be okay just to like do a raid buff. So, because they have to do something about Enhance. Like, it's so weird right now with Enhance. Like, if they keep Wind Fury Totem and they give you a raid buff in your class tree or passively, nothing changes. You would rename this, but it would just be renamed to only specs in the game where only one spec brings any value, because you would just play Enhance giving you the raid buff plus Wind Fury. Or you could make the raid buff not apply to Enhance specifically, but then that doesn't sound like something they would do. It kind of seems like they want this mana spring shit to be their raid buff. Because, like, they just nerfed mana, so, like, I mean, if this actually gave you a real amount of mana, it would be, like, really strong. But then there's multiple problems with this. Number one, it currently doesn't do that. Second, mana sometimes is, like, kind of a fake resource. Like, the amount of times I've been told that we won't have the mana for this, we need to add another healer, and then, like, they just figure out mana and it's fine. I haven't heard that in years, but, like, that used to be a thing. So, like, you know, you don't even know if you need mana. Sometimes it's, like, not even important, right? And then, on top of that, still same problem. Enhance could get mana spring. So, same thing. You just only bring an Enhance and they bring this. So, if I am brought to bring mana for Dryny, I'm never showing up. That goes hard. I feel that. Guys, Dryny is such a little rat.